When it comes to Clematis, this is not... That's once more. A lot of people worry about caring for their climbing plants. How do you prune them? What if they're not flowering? How do you support them and make sure they don't flop? And one plant which seems to trouble people more than any other is the Wisteria. This is my Wisteria. It flowered massively this spring, absolutely covered in those glorious lilac-coloured flower trails, and the scent was amazing. The flowers have faded, the foliage has come, and look at it. Oh, Alan, you'll say, it's all yellow. Why is it yellow? Well, it's been a very hot summer, and the main problem here is I am on very chalky soil. It's very alkaline, and chlorosis, the lack of green material in leaves, tends to come when they're lacking in nutrients. As long as I get liquid feed down to its roots, it will be fine. But the other thing that Wisteria needs to encourage it to flower is pruning twice a year, in January and then in the summer. These long shoots, if you want to extend the territory of your plant, tie them in to supports on the wall. If you don't, and this is a freestanding wisteria, I don't need it to grow any wider, but I do want to encourage it to flower in this sort of shape next year. So these long shoots like this, shorten them. You can leave a foot at that end of new growth where it came out of the more mature stem, but cut back to 12 inches or so, 30 centimetres, just above a bud. So that has got about a foot, 30 centimetres of new growth left, and that will be shortened again in January to about finger length. What you may also find is that your wisteria produces seed pods. They look a bit like runner beans. Don't eat them. You may also be tempted to think, oh, I can dry and save these seeds and grow my own wisteria. Well, with the wisteria, this is too much of a gamble. A lot of wisterias are flower shy. They don't flower particularly well. When you're sowing seeds from them, there'll be a lot of variation. And that means you may not end up with a plant which is a free flowering, spectacular one. And you'll have waited an awful long time, having raised it from seed, to discover that. So the seed pods, snip them off. As well as seed pods, keep a lookout for branches that have died. There's one in here, and it's easy to see. Take out any stems like that that are clearly dead. Be careful about it. Reduce it rather than hammer it right the way down. Don't cut it back to stumps, but you can certainly tidy it up a bit and take out one or two of the older stems that really look ill. And that way, you can end up with a wisteria which is renewing itself a bit every year, flowering well, but still has a kind of venerable quality to it. This is one of my favourite climbing roses. This is Alistair Stella Grey, and I trained it up an old cherry tree that was beginning to die, and I thought, I'm not going to give up on the cherry tree, I'll use it as a plant support. This is its second flush. It flowered massively earlier on in the year, in about June, with these wonderful flowers of almost primrose yellow. The second flush, as you can see, is rather paler, and if you look at it, you'll see there are odd shoots on it, like flowered earlier on in the year, this first flush of flower, but now this stem is not producing anymore. I can see that the problem lies up here. There's been a break in the stem here, and it's dying back all the way up to this shoot here, which is alive. So I'm going to cut it back as far up as that. So that's all the dead wood gone, and then that green shoot will carry on growing. When it comes to Clematis, this is not the time of year to prune. This is one of my favourites. It has these fully double rosettes of dusky purple flowers. It has the longest name of any clematis I know. You ready? This is Clematis Viticella Purpurea Plena elegans. That means it's double, it's purple, and it's ever so pretty. If you started pruning this, you'd cut off the flower, but what you can do, you see mine's growing up an obelisk here, and every now and again you can just train in a wayward stem like that, hook it over. The time to prune clematis is in winter, just as the shoots are starting to grow. And the Viticella hybrids like this one, it's wonderfully easy because all you have to do, believe it or not, is cut these right back down to the ground. This is just one single year's growth, one season's growth from February right until now. That's what that's done. With others, you leave about a metre of growth on them, cutting back to those silky buds when they unfurl in early spring. But in summer, leave them alone, let them be. They get their own back, yeah. When it comes to training climbers against walls and fences, you need various bits of kit at your disposal. The longest lasting one are horizontal wires affixed to the wall or the fence. You can see I've done it here on my house wall. There's a little clamp at the end there. The wire is tensioned and then the clamp tightens, so I've got really tight wires at about 45 centimetre, 18-inch intervals up the wall. This is a rather more elaborate way. So the vine eye, as we call it, goes into the wall with a plug on its end so it gets tension and bite. That hooks onto there, having first fastened your wire to this end. And by twisting this, you can tighten the wire to get it really taut, and they will last for several years. A more temporary way of doing it, these sort of horticultural cable ties can be nailed to the wall through there, and then you put your plant stem here, put that round it, pull it through, and it's secured and not strangled. But for me, the stout wire between those vine eyes tightened and then left in place to do your final ties with this jute twine. That's my preferred method. This is one of my favourite wall shrubs. This is a form of indigo. It's called Indigofera pendula because its flowers are pendulous. This is a stem that's got away, it's rather wayward, but I need to strap it into the wall, and I'm going to use this jute twine, which I'm going to take around that taut wire which I've already fastened to this wall. I'm taking the twine up and around it so you can see it's wrapped once round, then crossing it and bringing the stem in. And what I've done here is made sure that I've got cushioning around that plant. It's not too tight, but it's never going to chafe on that wire. And now I've got a plant which is much happier and wall which is much better covered. And if the plant's happy, I'm happy. Young climbers and wall plants find themselves in one of the most challenging parts of the garden. Against a wall or a fence, they're in what we call a rain shadow area. Rain tends not to fall much, really close to a vertical surface. It falls away from it. It also means that, particularly in the case of brick and stone, moisture is sucked out of the adjacent soil. So when they first go in, you've got to be really helpful and make sure they're thoroughly watered regularly, particularly through that first season. Every few days, if rain isn't forthcoming, then get out there and put loads of water on it. This is a young rose called Albertine. It's getting away, but once I've watered it well like this, I can reduce the need to water by covering the already damp soil with a mulch, a thick layer of ornamental bark chipping, say 2 inches thick. That will stop the sun from burning the soil and causing the water to evaporate. Gardening is my passion and I want to share it with you. So subscribe now and let's get gardening together.